That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. Well, that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow!
All right. I don't say hello to you until we start recording now.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for that little stutter so I know you hit the record button.
There you go. Eating
Kyle.
again. You got the raisins.
This episode is once again brought to you by Tone's Raisins. Organic raisins, 3 kinds too.
Very nice. A mix.
We got
A medley, if you will.
Sultana raisins, something called Cadena currants, and Sun Muscat. What's the difference between a muscat and a raisin?
No idea.
Oh.
I've never heard of any of those. I know there's green raisins from green grapes and red raisins from red grapes.
They're golden raisins, right?
Golden, that's right, yeah.
Wow.
I think those are the green ones, right? I think.
They're the golden ones.
Okay, maybe they're from yellow grapes.
Yeah, that works.
Welcome to Grape Talk, everybody.
Kyle's tweeting about Beetleborgs. Do you want to get in on that?
No. Not at all.
That's your jam, right?
No.
You got a history with that show.
Yeah, well, that was the very first show I aired on television in Master Control at CHRO in Pembroke.
And you must have been really proud. You must have been, telling everybody. It's like, hey, look, you see that on TV? I did that.
Yeah, I would have much rather it had been in an episode of Seinfeld or something like that, but no, it was Big Bad Beetleborgs. And did I ever tell you? I must have told this story before, but it's fun. It's for our new YouTube listeners.
Well, they're the only ones we care about.
Right. We used to run Big Bad Beetleborgs at 3, and at 3:30 we would air Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Go.
And one day I accidentally ran, or maybe it was the other way around. Anyways, I ran Big Bad Beetleborgs instead of Power Rangers. And I didn't notice until we got to the end of the show and it wasn't timing out right. I'm like, oh, this is the wrong show. So there you go. That's my Big Bad Beetleborgs story.
What did that feel like, Do you think someone was going to kick the door in, start screaming at you?
I no, right away I'm like, how do I explain this? What do I say? Both of these shows are so dumb, they look alike. I couldn't tell the difference. And I didn't have, so the procedure in that is what you're supposed to do is air the show like at its proper time slot, right? So if it was supposed to air at 3:30, you accidentally aired it at 3, you got to air it again at 3:30 because that's the right thing to do. But this was the land before time. This was the archaic time, and I was coming out of the end of the show. If anyone knows those kids shows, they put big long segments at the start, like 10 minutes or 12 minutes, and then at the end, that's all the little short segments, right, where you cram all the commercials at the end because you already got the kid hooked in. He's going to stay to the end to watch the rest of the show. Okay. So because the segments were so short, I didn't have time to actually rewind the tape so I can play it again. So my only option was to play Power Rangers in that time slot. So it was 2 shows that were screwed up.
Rewind the tape, huh?
Yes.
You weren't just clicking a button.
No. And in those days, back in those days, at this station I was working, everything was on tape. Every commercial you ran was on tape. So you had 6 machines beside you and a stopwatch, and you loaded up your 6 commercials, and you got your stopwatch ready. And when it was time for a commercial, you hit play, then you hit your stopwatch, and you had 13 seconds to get the tape out. Like once 13 seconds hit, it was something like you had to press play on the second machine, Second machine would run its commercial. Then you could switch at the right time to the second machine, and then you had 13 seconds to take out that tape and put in the seventh, if you needed a seventh commercial in the top machine. So and then it would go through all the machines, and yeah.
Wow, sounds like you were really working back then.
It was a job. It was a real job. You had the pull tape too. You'd come in for your shift, and you worked an 8-hour shift, and the first 2 hours of your shift was pulling tape. You had the log, and you had to like pull all the commercials off the shelves, and then sometimes the commercials were playing earlier, so it'd be on another rack and all that. So you had to organize all that stuff. Plus your shows were on tape. Very exciting times.
What would happen if you had a busted tape, something that wouldn't run properly?
You would hope that you had time to fix it before it aired again. If not, that's it. You just couldn't air it. If it was that bad, if it was that badly mangled, you couldn't air it until you got another copy.
Well, I imagine, I mean, some commercials you got to air quite frequently, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they would be susceptible to a little wear and tear, possibly breakage.
Yeah. Yeah, but that rarely ever happened. That's why you bought, professional grade tapes and that. You wouldn't buy just commercial stuff. So that's why those cost more. And we used 3/4 inch tape, which was at the time very reliable. Yeah.
Wow, getting the inside info.
Yeah, on how television was done.
Can't get that anywhere else.
A long time ago.
What was the best show you ever got to air? Did you walk in and they told you, "Hey, today you're playing this"? You're like, "Oh, all right, I get to watch this."
Well, I always look forward to Seinfeld reruns all the time. But really, I would say the most exciting show I ever did was the Super Bowl, because every ad was a bajillion dollars, and at the time, everyone had to tune into our channel to watch the Super Bowl. You couldn't watch it anywhere else. So everyone in Canada was watching little old me switch from commercial to the football.
You were the star of the show.
I was it.
You made the magic happen.
Yeah, it was good times. And it
must have been one of the more nerve-wracking experiences, though.
No, I was calm because I knew what I was doing.
You were experienced by then.
Yeah.
This wouldn't put a new kid on with the Super Bowl ads.
No, but it was that they showed a lot of faith in me and giving me that job, because there was people that had been working there for, a bajillion years, and they were like, "No, we don't want."
They wanted to go home and watch the Super Bowl.
Well, maybe, yeah. But yeah, no, it was good. But yeah, when I aired those 2 episodes wrong, I was really green. That was new, and I thought, oh man, I'm in such trouble. But if that were to happen to me now, I would know that those shows were there was nothing but what we call remainders as commercials. Basically, they sell ads during prime time. You sell an ad in prime time for this much, and then they'll say, you know what, if you give us this much money to run this ad during prime time, we'll throw in a couple of extra airings of the commercial during this show and this show and this show. So those are called remainders, and they're not they're a bonus for the customer. It's not a big deal if they don't air whatever. It's fine. It's all good. So I wouldn't have sweated it. But at the time, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, by the time I did the Super Bowl, no problem. It was good.
Old hat.
Yep.
Speaking of old hat, you guys are still playing Terraria over on the Quick Save Club.
Yep. Big update today, I believe there was. Huge, massive update. They changed hard mode, made it more hard. They took out some exploits, so it makes it more of a legit experience, I guess.
I guess you guys are generating so much traffic with that game. They're like, wow,
I think
we better smoothen this out,
I think so. I think that's what.
Take out some of these bumps.
Wait, I gotta plug something, because Sarka Sim over on the Caught Me Gaming blog wrote a post about Terraria today. So go check that out. Caught Me Gaming. WordPress.com.
CC Prime playing Undertale. Did you write a blog about that?
No.
Nope.
I wonder if she
CC
would
Portable playing Fire Emblem on the GBA. She write a blog about that?
No, I don't think she would like that game.
And the RF Gen playing Darksiders on the Sega Genesis. Let's write a blog about that.
I think she would like that game.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. That's it's an ARPG, if you will, right?
AR?
It's like Torchlight, Diablo. It's the first
Action RPG.
Yeah, ARPG.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't know all this
Come
technical
on.
lingo.
Give it the lingo.
They won't let me run Super Bowl commercials. I don't have all the inside info.
Hey, that was 20 years ago now. Already.
Yep, games. Play some games. I thought about playing a game. I was really interested in putting back in one of those X-Men Legends or Marvel Ultimate Alliance games.
Yeah,
Or,
that's
or
an
like
ARPG.
Torchlight. That was like flashing through my head too. But I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that nonsense.
Nobody got time for that.
Nope. Filmdango, the end of each month. In fact, our upcoming Filmdango will be next week.
Next
That's
episode.
going to be Arnie Conans and a Red Sonja. We got a special guest lined up for that one.
We already announced it on Bill's vinyl podcast, so we could say it's going to be.
So nobody's heard it yet.
That's okay.
I get plenty of notifications about those. That's the only thing in my YouTube mailbox. I get like little notifications there.
Yeah.
I'll see like, 2 notifications. Yep. New vinyl thing. New vinyl thing with Bill. STC Pod. There you go. It's the only thing I get.
It's good fun.
I guess because I clicked on one. And
that's it. Yeah.
With it, and then it's like, I told YouTube I like this.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You might have the bell turned on. If you have the bell turned on, that'll.
Maybe. I don't know. You guys seem like you're having fun over there, though.
We are.
Your bandanas and your turbans and all that.
I don't have any of those, but.
I've seen the images.
Yeah. Photoshop is a heck of a drug.
I don't know. It looked real to me. I saw it on the internet. It's got to be true.
That's right.
June, we're doing the 70s Jack Nicholson, Last Detail, 5 easy pieces, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And in July, we got the Josh and Curtis Treehouse. I guess I'm not biased towards one.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
One could say it was an accidental slip because the next word started with a T, right? And I said Josh, and I saw Treehouse. Slipped in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've never made that mistake, Curtis. I've never
Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse. How about that?
Sure. Okay, so they gave us a list of games. They liked the idea of indie movies that have gone far above and beyond their budget. So that's what we're doing. They gave us a list of movies, and they just want to know. It went through a third party.
Hold on there. Yeah. Well, no, it sounds like you're going to mention it because they didn't give us the list of movies.
No. It went through a third party. Surprisingly, they wanted somebody who they could trust that knew would be impartial. Surprisingly, that wasn't Bill. They didn't choose Joe. Who else is slippery out there? They didn't choose.
Pretty much everybody, I guess.
Yeah, they didn't choose Kyle. They chose somebody else. Anyways, I went through a third party. They gave us a list. We don't know whose movie is who. These might be all Curtis's movies. This might be all Josh's movies. 3 of them might be Josh's. The rest might be Curtis's. Who knows? We don't know. But we just have a list of titles, and they just want to know if we have watched any of these films.
Mm-hmm.
So, Attack the Block. Have you seen that?
I don't know what that is.
Me neither.
This is perfect. I'll just say also, I did a lot of these movies I'm unfamiliar with, and I did not go and look them up. I'm waiting for whatever we decide on is going to be completely blind for me as much as possible.
I stayed away. The Babadook.
The Babadook.
Babadook. What is that?
I know it's a horror movie, and I put a veto on this one simply because this film has been recommended to us in the past by one of the participants.
I see. Okay.
So I believe I know who recommended it.
Okay, so no.
I could be wrong, but not taking any chances here. No bias.
Defender.
Atari game, I know that.
Yeah, me too. Dope.
It's also misspelled. Or is that the way it's spelled?
I don't know. I don't know. Dope. Have you heard of the movie Dope?
No.
8th Grade.
Nope.
It Follows.
That's not the sequel to It, is it?
No.
That new It?
No.
Like they made a second one?
Right. No, I don't think so. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know what it is, to be honest. I'd have to look it up.
No, I don't know what this is.
The Lobster?
Nope. Do you know what? You're smiling.
It's. I can imagine what the lobster is, but I imagine a giant lobster.
I was just gonna say,
people.
are we watching another Godzilla movie?
I think so. No, I don't know what that is. Midsommar?
Midsommar.
Nope.
Yeah, there are no years on any of these films that we received, so it's really hard to picture what this is. No idea.
Roar?
This is if I'm thinking of the right movie, it's not a movie that I've seen, but it is a movie that I've seen reviewed on a popular internet program. So I've seen a fair amount of footage and have a tone in my head of how to view such a thing. So veto on that one also.
Okay. And Wet Hot American Summer.
This is one I believe I've heard that name before, but I couldn't tell you what kind of movie it is or when it was made.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I think it's a movie that came out 20 years ago and they just did a sequel of it not too long ago, but I've never seen it and I'm not exactly sure what it is.
Okay, so we're left with Attack the Block, Defender, Dope, 8th Grade, It Follows, The Lobster, Midsommar, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies.
8 movies.
Okay. So how do you want to proceed from here? Are we going to try to narrow this down, or do we just?
I think those.
Although they just want to know if we had seen them.
Right, seen them, or if we know who might have recommended them or anything like that. So that's it. That's all we're supposed to. Pass on.
All right. Back to the secret spy network.
And it
was. I say this is my most like the most fun I'm having with this so far is how we're getting these secretive communiques.
Well, and it was requested that we do talk about it on the show. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go.
All right.
I guess the ball is back in their court.
We passed the baton.
Yeah. I mean, we already don't even have direct contact with them anymore. We just have to hope that this information gets to them somehow.
No, any direct contact would violate everything. It would break the rules, you know.
Yeah.
We want this contest to be pure, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm amazed that there are 10 movies there that you're not familiar with.
There's a lot of indie movies that I am not familiar with. Yes.
Well, that's true. Yeah, independent film.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I would say for the past decade, I've been focused on video games, and I haven't really played or watched that many movies, I should say. So
I see a movie review or unboxing come out of you every day now.
That's right. And a collection video today, part 1 of a 5-part series.
The Blu-ray.
That's right.
5-part.
Yeah.
Part 1, Burt Reynolds.
No, I don't know if I have something coming in for the Burt Reynolds collection, so I have to wait, and then that's going to be its own video.
Oh,
that's right.
Collection looks a little pathetic right now. You got to get about 15, 20 more Blu-rays in there.
No. Just one more to add to the Burt Reynolds thing, and then we'll.
It's one of the crown jewels.
I don't know if it's a crown jewel. It's just one that I've been trying to get in there. And...
Oh, so you haven't even seen it yet?
No. No. Okay.
Right.
What do you say we start the show? Get into it.
Why not?
Yeah. So you're back to work.
Yeah, after like 3 months of doing not so much work. I had my private stuff going on, but I finally had to go back to work. And I had to go back. That's the weirdest thing. Because they made the decision that all the classes are online from now through August. Yeah, no, the end of August, September, something like that. Everything is online, but I still have to go to the building and talk to an empty classroom there.
So you are broadcasting on Skype from the classroom?
Yeah, well, we're using a different
or Zoom or whatever it is.
Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
Using now. So there's 2 different campuses. One campus I go to 1 day a week, and it's really far. They said I can work from home. I can just sit here, do my lessons that way. The other one is about a 20-minute drive from here, and I have to go there 4 days a week. And they said I have to go in, and I have to go to the classroom and sit in the classroom and talk to a computer the same way I'm doing this.
Why?
Not only that,
why?
This applies to all the part-time lecturers. That's what we're known as if we're not a full-time teacher there. So basically, all the part-time teachers have to go there, and we have to go to the classroom we normally would go to for the class. So they've got all the part-time teachers being told, stay away from each other, don't touch anything, but go to the school and keep sharing workspace.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
At least if they gave you a room and said, do all your classes from this room.
That's exactly what I said. My first one was, is it really necessary to go in? Because I can just do this from my home, and we're not supposed to be, cross-contamination and all that. And it's like, oh, we'll check, but they really want you to go there, which I believe is just a monitoring thing. They want to make sure you're actually doing the lessons, and which they could just join the call,
right? Yeah.
See how everything's going. And then my other comment was that, like, well, at least if we have to go, do we have to keep switching classrooms? Nobody's using them, so we can just say, hey, this is your classroom, this is your classroom. I mean, I understand for some teachers, because if they're doing laboratory work or something like that, they need a specific setup. I don't. I have nothing special that I need for any of my classes.
Right.
I don't even turn my camera on. It's just me, talking at the computer. So no, all that is just insane. I have to keep going there. But, on the brightest side of everything, it was like a big hurdle. Like, oh, I got to go back to work now. But now I'm back, and I don't feel so much like a bum anymore.
Well, I haven't stopped going to work, so just get a week off here and there. That's about it. Or at least I get that.
I really did need to go back just because it's been far too long. It just got too lazy. I could sleep in a little bit more.
Yeah, Sarah's been home, I don't know, since March. Only gone to the grocery store. That's pretty much it. Once in a while, we take her out in the car and drive her around like the dog. Hey, let's go for a ride. Come on.
I gotta tell you, I'm still really enjoying the stay at home. I mean, sometimes I wish like I kind of want to go over there, but no, I'm good. I just I see it as I'm supposed to be home all the time. So after work, I don't even before I would think, well, maybe I want to stop somewhere on the way home, check something out. Nope, just get me straight home. I don't need to pick anything up. Sit home, and then just work is done. I'm back home. Feel safe. All right.
Yeah. No, me too, man.
It's not even a safeness thing. It's just more comfortable.
Yeah, like even just going out for a walk and people have to walk away from you. It's great. Stay away from me. It's awesome. Yeah. Even right now, my neighbors are once again having a front lawn party. I can't relate to those people at all. I don't get it. But every weekend they got to go out there on the lawn if the weather's nice.
And they don't throw you an invite. Never come knock on your door.
No. Okay. I mean, I think they do it on the front lawn as a kind of way of saying it's open to anybody, like come on over kind of thing. But I'm not. interested in going over there. I'm fine here.
So somebody walks up there, and then suddenly all their backs turn to you, and they just like, put that guy over there. He never comes in. Just see his eyes peeking out of the window.
Nah, I think those people are craving for attention, so they would just love it if somebody came over there and gave them some attention. That's my theory, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm the same thing. Go to work, go in my little room, do my thing for 8 hours, get out, come straight home. It's actually a pain in the ass. The only thing I got to do is get gas, and that's a pain in the ass because then I just think that there's COVID. I pretend there's COVID right on the nozzle. Got to pump my own gas, right? So pump the gas, and then I got to put the sanitizer. I put the sanitizer in my pocket, and then I sanitize my hand. I only use one hand, and then when I get home, I just wipe down the interior of my car just to be safe. Everything I touched. Just because I don't know how well sanitizer is. So
I don't know. Who knows? I mean, you go to the store and stuff. They got the sanitizer there. I don't know if it's really sanitizer in it.
Yeah, it could be water.
Could be water. It could be diluted down. They could just be throwing some like watered down bleach in there. Who knows?
Yeah. So, but one thing is like I do get that. I do have that feeling once in a while. It's like I'd love to go out there and just check out the Blu-rays and whatnot. But you realize too, like going to the thrift stores and the discount stores and that, you end up buying a lot of, especially going through my collection as I have the last couple of days, you end up buying a lot of movies you kind of want, and you get them because they're $5. But I haven't been doing that, and I've only been like doing online stuff and that, and then you kind of focus on just the stuff that you really want,
Yeah.
Even if there's something like that's $5 or whatever, I just think to myself, well, that's $5 I could put towards something better,
Yeah, I try to do that as much as possible because it's chip damage, you just a little bit goes here, a little bit goes there, then suddenly, whoa, like I'm down $50. How'd that happen?
$50 on stuff you kind of want, but and
it's going to sit there.
Right.
You just took your $50 and threw it up on the shelf in coins,
which is, I guess that's pretty much most of my Blu-ray collection. But
well, yeah,
hopefully within the next year, I'm working on it. I'm improving on it. I'm opening more and stuff, and been watching a lot. I've been doing that alphabet sort of challenge thing where I've been
picking
going through all the levers
from each one.
Yep. And I'm at I'm at L. Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know if I want to get into it right now. Are we in movie talk now? Are we doing movies?
Yeah,
now?
Go for it.
Okay. I rewatched Looper, and I am on Team Vox. That movie is ridiculous.
Garbage.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Rain Johnson, I'm sorry, I know there's fans out there, but that guy is one heck of a lazy writer. There's so many plot holes.
Did he write that one too?
Yeah. And there's so many plot holes. If you haven't seen Looper and you want to watch it, fast forward 5 minutes or whatever, because I'm about to spoil the whole thing. So they go back in time, right? Like it's this mafia in the future that throws back people that they want to kill back in time, and these people back in time are hitmen.
Okay, let me see if I remember it right.
All right.
In the future, you can't kill people, right? Something like that.
If you murder somebody in the future,
okay,
right, then there's like the police are going to investigate it in that, right? But if you murder them now and then throw them into the past, that's
right. It's something about disposing the body by throwing it into the past.
The police can't trace it. Like you just sent them back in time. You didn't kill them here, so there's no crime.
Right. Because you're not killing them in the future. You send them back in time, and there's somebody waiting.
Right.
And then as soon as they appear, you just pop.
Right. So the biggest plot hole right there, right off the bat, is they say at the beginning that time travel has been made illegal from the government. That's why only these mafia guys still use time travel, right? Because it's illegal. So if it is illegal to kill someone and they don't want to get caught, so what they do is they do something else illegal and send them back in time. Why don't the cops just go after them for sending people back in time? Yeah, you're all arrested. You sent someone back in time. The government said it's bad. That's plot hole number one. It doesn't make any sense. And then, so eventually, Gordon Joseph Lovett, is that his name? What the heck's his name?
Tommy.
Tommy from
Third Rock.
Third Rock from the Sun is a younger version of Bruce Willis. And Bruce Willis goes back in time. He tricks the mafia and all that stuff, tricks his younger self into not killing him as he goes back in time because this guy in the future, the Rainmaker, who's a little kid in the past, this Rainmaker kills Bruce Willis's wife. So he wants to go back in time and kill the Rainmaker before he kills his wife because that will make everything right. If the Rainmaker doesn't live, then his wife will never die, and Bruce Willis and the wife can go live happily ever after, even though Bruce Willis has no way of getting back into the future where his wife is. Yeah, I know you got this weird. I know
it's been a while since I've seen it. A lot of the details are fuzzy, so I remember not enjoying it, and that there were a bunch of things that bothered me. Yeah. But as you're saying it now, like all this stuff sounds so stupid.
It is. Well, the worst thing really is Tommy's eyebrows. They changed his eyebrows to make him look more like Bruce Willis, and they're really distracting.
Too, right?
Yeah, and it's really distracting. It does not look right.
Not really necessary. You have people all the time in movies play younger versions of another character or something.
Right. And you just go with it.
Yeah, it's a movie, whatever.
So, anyways, young Bruce Willis, played by Tommy, he ends up falling in love. As the movie goes along, he ends up falling in love with another woman. So, but Bruce Willis is still hell-bent on killing this kid because he wants to live with his wife in the future. He wants his wife in the future to survive. But none of it makes any sense. If Joe, it's Joe in the movie, young Joe fell in love with another woman, he's not going to meet Bruce Willis's wife. So the whole thing doesn't make any sense. Young Joe has already moved on. He's never going to meet that other woman. Old Joe is never going to have that moment with his wife. So it makes no sense why he would try to kill him. It's just, the whole thing is just one big, there's so many plot holes in it. There's this one part where, so if one of these guys, if they send back a guy in time and they take off, right? It's called a run loop or something like that, or an escape loop or something, and they have to go and catch the guy, right? So this one guy takes off. He's off there. He's out there somewhere, and they need to bring him back, because if they don't bring him back, it's going to create a whole mess in the timeline. So in order to get him back, they somehow they take the younger version of this guy, who's in present day, I guess, take the younger version, and they start cutting him up. So the guy's So the guy's running away. He starts climbing a fence, and then he notices his fingers start disappearing, and then his nose disappears, and then there's a big scar that appears on his arm, and it says, "Be at this place in 15 minutes, or basically we're going to cut everything off of you, and you're just going to be like a stump in a head," right? So they start cutting more and more parts off of him and everything, and as he's trying to get to this location, his foot comes off, so he's stumbling and his legs come off and all that stuff. But why wouldn't they just kill the younger guy?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it as you're saying it and remembering it. I'm like, yeah, that's a cool idea. Something would happen to you, your younger self, and then suddenly the older self has to react towards that. But yeah,
why wouldn't they just kill the younger guy?
Kill the younger guy.
Or
hold him, and then he'll never get away.
Yeah, you could do that. Or what doesn't make sense though is if somebody started cutting off. Okay, so he's in one spot, right? He's on one spot in the road as he's trying to get back to this location. If someone cut off your foot, you wouldn't be in that spot. You'd be a lot further behind because you can't move that fast with only one foot.
Right.
And then if someone cuts off your legs, you're crawling. You'd be further back. You'd never make it to the location.
Well, you wouldn't. You're changing the future. You have somebody who's suddenly kidnapped and you start cutting them apart. They're going to make so many different choices in their life. They wouldn't necessarily be in that same spot to begin with. It's like everything is all about doing time travel movies is extremely difficult. Time travel stories, there's always some sort of a plot hole. you can't focus too much on the little details, because then the audience starts to think and they realize like, hey, this whole story isn't making sense.
The best is, and I'm wearing the shirt today, the Doctor Who. Doctor Who just tells it simply. So very early on, they established that he can't just constantly go back in time and fix things. Like he can't go back, like if something happens within 2 minutes, he can't go back 2 minutes to try to fix it again. It just doesn't work, right? They did a whole episode on it where it creates just chaos if he tries to do that. So then, and then as for the rest of it, if something happens or whatever, the answer is, what is it? It's timey-wimey something. I don't know. Something timey-wimey, wobbly something. I can't remember the whole thing. But anyways, it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. He just says like this nonsense thing, right? So basically, the Doctor lives, he has a linear existence, right? And he could travel through time, but his linear existence is kind of more important than the timeline of itself. It doesn't make complete sense. It's not supposed to, right? Because if you try to, then you're going to get into a ton of plot holes. So that's just the way that they get. What is it? Time wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, or something like that? I don't know. That's how he explains everything. But basically, he can't go back and constantly try to think. He gets a set part in time, and he has a certain amount of time to fix whatever problem it is, and that's it. In that linear part. I know it doesn't really make sense, but that's what it is. Anyways, yeah, Rian Johnson's lazy. That's what I'm trying to say. And this kind of plot holes it's not just in Looper. It's in like all, like the other movie I watched was Knives Out, and that had plot holes in it too. That kind of bothered me in the same kind of way. But I don't feel like talking about that movie. So, okay. Anything else?
Well, I did watch a movie. I don't really want to talk about it, but
you don't want to talk.
Well, it's only the second movie I've watched this month, so
okay.
I suppose I can. I only watched it. It's much like a Filmdango. It was homework, excruciating homework. Someone wanted me to watch Contagion because a student of mine had watched it and he wanted to talk about it. 2011 movie. Matt Damon and Lawrence Fishburne, a bunch of other people. And it's not a very good movie as a narrative. It's pretty weak. But it is about a disease that starts up in China and becomes a global pandemic. And lots of people get sick and die. And it's all about that. So as a narrative, it wasn't so great. But just for the details, the fact that they went through basically all the same steps that we did with our COVID thing.
Oh, really?
It was like, oh, okay. Yeah, that happened. Yeah, we did that too. Wow, they said social distancing. I didn't know that term existed before.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of neat in that regard. But you're not going to get a great movie out of it. And I kind of get the feeling maybe it was based on a book, because it's one of those ensemble casts where you have a bunch of different stories that are all dealing with the same thing, but none of the characters are fleshed out. You know, you get a couple of scenes with each character over the course of the movie, and nothing really seems to happen to make you care in any one of them. So I imagine in a book or like a mini series or something where it's all fleshed out and you get to know the character and, you know, suffer with them, and you get to see their part of the story and, you know, their life expanded on a bit more. It'd be pretty interesting, but it's like an hour and 40-minute movie where you have 5 or 6 different people you're trying to follow and their storylines, and meh. But it's kind of interesting, just the fact that some of the things, at least at the beginning of the movie, when it's still somewhat grounded in reality, and then, you know, it becomes the super disease and everything goes crazy and they have to action it up. But still, even then, it's cinematically, it's not too interesting. A lot of flat shots, no standout moments.
Yeah, it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, who I'm not a huge fan of.
I recognize the name, but I can't say I know anything else that he's done.
A long time ago, he did a movie called Traffic that was pretty good, But then he started doing those Ocean's 12 movies and that.
I haven't seen any of those.
I don't know. I that's all. Magic Mike.
No idea.
Yeah. That's pretty much. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough. That movie was trending on Netflix too.
I imagine so.
Yeah.
It's all about disease and
right.
that thing. I did finish Ash in versus Evil Dead.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna spoil that, so you might want to fast forward through that a little bit.
Okay.
What'd you think of the ending?
Well, a few episodes before the end, that's when we talked last, and I remember you saying that it ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
And in my mind, because I know the show got canceled, and I assume they were at least thinking about doing a 4th season, or they would have liked to continue. So I assumed it was like a complete cliffhanger, like it just had no ending. But they did have a rushed ending.
Yeah.
Which I imagine they got word that, all right, sorry, show's canceled. So they took Bruce Campbell and did like that last 2-3 minute scene with him just to put some sort of a bookend on it.
Yeah.
So while it is unfortunate you didn't get to see full resolution of the other characters, because they were on level for me. They were the other stars of the show.
Yeah.
It was nice to put just a little something at the end, just to say, hey, this is kind of an Ash Williams ride off into the sunset moment, in a sense. So
in a way, yeah. I don't know. I think they could have done a lot more. Like I would love to see another season.
If they had time, I would have liked to see the ending that they worked on and planned out and said, hey, this is a good way to end the show, and here's what happens to all the characters. But in kind of Evil Dead fashion, I think the ending was fine. It's kind of, that's what you kind of expect. It's not too different from the ending of Army of Darkness, especially the director's cut version.
Right. Yeah, it definitely had that feel to it. Even the end, like it always ends on like, that Wayne's World thing, or did they? Kind of thing. That's what the ending felt like to me, and I wanted a season 4 so bad. Like I want to see what they were going to go with all that, like with him. It was kind of like a Army of Darkness thing. He's in the future now, and they're going to bring him into the future, but they had such a low budget.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Like I said, I don't think that last scene was intended. I think basically after the big confrontation, there's a big demon. After the confrontation, Ash kind of gets knocked out. And I think, maybe they had a different ending attached to that would get him back involved with the, the other characters and what they had set up. But maybe, they found, show's canceled. Let's take advantage of that. We'll cut, and then we'll put this new ending on. And that's why none of the other characters were present for that.
I see.
Just like all we can do. But I don't know. That's just my assumption.
No, I didn't think of it like that when I saw it. So yeah, that's interesting that they might have just thrown that in, because I knew the show was going to be wrapping up. So
right, because from what I read, they found out after episode 8 of the 3rd season that it got canceled. So obviously they didn't have much time.
Right.
And they already had shot everything. So.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I don't know. Very fun series, though. I mean, even though it's a little disappointing, you don't get a proper ending, or the ending that they wanted. I had a fun time watching every episode. For me, there wasn't a bad episode. There wasn't a time when I wasn't interested. It kept that wonderful, very hard to do balance between slapstick comedy, camp, and genuinely not touching, but very likable characters that you wanted to follow, and some honestly sometimes scary, threatening moments.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
Yeah, it'll be missed. I would love to see a comic book continue on with it. I would get it.
Yeah, well, well, that's the magic of the Evil Dead Ash Williams character. Is you can just plop him in kind of anywhere. You want to do the Ash versus Freddy versus Jason? Yeah,
that's true.
It could kind of work. You never know what he did in all these other little moments.
They should put Ash in one of those Mortal Kombat games.
Wasn't he in one of those?
I don't know. Was he?
Did you see the RoboCop is in it now?
I think I did.
I saw a bunch of stuff pop up on YouTube about that. I was like, really? RoboCop in a Mortal Kombat game?
Yeah, he's very stiff.
Yeah, I mean, there's that one game on the Genesis I really like, but at the same time, he's jumping around like a monkey in that,
right.
just going up and down on ropes. But I watched like the reveal and everything. Okay, RoboCop, but then I saw the fatalities, and it's completely out of character. It's like he's a police officer. He goes after the bad guy. This makes it look like he's just some crazed killer, where he's just killing people for the fun of it.
That's really the problem with all those Mortal Kombat games. So every time they try to throw some narrative in there, it doesn't really make sense why allies would fight each other. It's same with that Nintendo one. Why is Mario beating up on Luigi, or Samus fighting Kirby? None of it makes sense.
Well, it's there for if you just want to have fun with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw one fatality, and he was like, I guess they still got a thing with DC, because it was RoboCop, and he was blowing the head off the Joker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like,
that
doesn't feel right. It's like,
that was that. Is it that? What's that series with all the DC characters in it?
Well, they did a Mortal Kombat DC fighting game years back.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I played the first one. I never played the second one. Can't remember it. But there was no like blood or anything in it. It was just
unless it was one of those like fan created characters and it just looked like the Joker. But the clip I saw, I'm pretty sure it was the Joker.
Okay. Anyways, I took your advice with the Blu-rays, and there was a few Blu-rays that were on sale, and you said you shouldn't buy all these. You should actually test them out and watch them before you buy them. And I said, you know what? I think Richard's right. So I downloaded. I found some preservation. I got some preservation copies out there of a movie called Lonely Are the Brave with Kirk Douglas. And it's from the early 60s. He plays like this cowboy guy. His buddy gets locked up in prison. So he decides that he's going to get locked up in prison because he wants to see his buddy and bust him out of prison. It's very like old school masculine macho man kind of stupid thinking. But he ends up busting himself out of prison, and now he's on the lam. And the guy chasing him is Walter Matthau. And who else is in that? Oh, Carol O'Connor's in the movie too. He's got a bit part in it too. But it was really good. It was really great. It's called Lonely.
Is this before All in the Family?
Yes. Yeah. This is 1962.
Okay.
And Walter Matthau is. Some people can't picture him in like serious roles. They've got him hooked in on the comedy, but the guy can do it, man. And it's really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it. So I ended up getting that one. That one's coming in the mail to me. Then the other two I watched, one was called Invitation to a Gunfighter. Yul Brynner is in it. 1964, another black and white Western. But it was slow and boring. Kind of sucked. It wanted to have something to say about corruption and people in power and stuff like that. But I don't know. It just kept going on and on. It's boring. So you saved me some money on that one.
There you go.
And then I download or found a preservation copy of a movie called Shatter. This movie stars Stuart Whitman, and it's supposed to be a kung fu movie kung fu action movie from the 70s, 1974. And I think it was like we were 40 minutes in before they started getting to some kung fu, finally. And it wasn't really that great at kung fu. And I couldn't even finish it. It was so boring. So I ended up not buying that. I would have bought it. It looked like right up my alley. It was 1974, right era and everything. But yeah, so you saved me some money on that. So
you should go to Tubi. They got a lot of
I checked
kung fu, martial arts, and all that there.
I checked. I checked those movies to see if they were on there, and they were not. But I do look at Tubi a lot. That's why I always check, like, before I try to find a preservation copy. I always see if I can stream it legit first, because I want the whatever ad I have to sit through or whatever. I want them to be able to get a couple of bucks or whatever for making a movie, but just not available. So
gotcha.
Saved myself some money. So I bought one out of the three. Also, I watched John Wick 2 and 3 finally.
Oh, okay. Do you have the Blu-ray for 3 too?
I have the 4K for 2, and then I watched 3 on Amazon Prime. I streamed it. Amazon Prime. Yeah, I still really like the first movie. I think the first movie is aces. And the first movie has that simple, somebody kills his dog. It was his wife's dog. It was like last memory and all that. And he just goes on a vengeful, tear, basically I'm going to get this guy and that. And, I got to follow these dumb rules and that because I'm an assassin in this world and, all this stuff. So it was a good movie. Follow along. 2 and 3 everything seems to go a little off the rails. They expand a little bit too much in that universe, and it kind of loses me a little bit, especially when he is just running around shooting people out in the open. Like there's people all around.
There's a lot of stuff that especially in part 2.
Yeah.
He has that fight with the guy on the subway, like the pristine white, everything is so clean.
Yeah.
And you can't forget there's a body there. Just because the camera doesn't show it all the time,
right.
All the people leaving the train should be seeing a dead, bloody body.
Yeah. I get it. Like they're kind of ninja-esque. Like they kind of mess around with that. Like sometimes people can see them and sometimes not or whatever. But still, like somebody like just plops down dead in the middle of a crowded subway.
You're in New York
station.
City. People are going to notice. That was the big problem for me with 2 is they just expanded way too much to the point that it's like, who's not in this secret society?
Exactly.
Especially the ending when they're in Central Park and is like, what do you do? Snap his fingers and everybody just walks away.
Right.
Like you can't control that. There are regular people walking through the park, with their kids and stuff. It just got a bit too ridiculous.
Well, the assassins with their currency, they got these coins. And the people in the know, you put the coin down on the table. The people in the know what to do with that coin and know what you need and all that. Okay, sure. You go into a gun store, drop the coin. Okay, that person knows. Go into a restaurant, they take you into the back where the secret stuff is happening in the back. But he's passing around to like a cab driver. He's at a hot dog stand. Here you go. Like it's
like everybody
knows what's going on. Like how secret is this society? Now, I did find in 3 they kind of reined it in a little bit, and it felt a little more, I don't know, it just felt a little better. And he had a little better motivation. Like, I didn't know what his motivation was in 2. I didn't know, like...
Well, it was like direct continuation. That's the other problem of this series. Even though there's some fun to be had, like, I think you're in the same boat now. It's like, 1 is the best of the series, then you go to 3, had some like fun action and stuff, and then 2 just seemed like it blew up a little too much. Everything, the catalyst to everything is still that dog and the car from the first movie.
Right.
So like everything that's happening with the sequels, it still goes all the way back to that. So you're further and further from his motivation. So now it's just like he's stuck in these constant adventures of got to do this now, got to go there, got to make an alliance with this person, got to go meet my old friend / doesn't trust me person and go off to this place and country hopping and all this. And like as a narrative, it's very loosely held together.
Well, because he already, finished that in the first movie. The first movie was probably, they only thought they were ever going to make one, and it already concluded. Now I get in 2 and 3, it's the fallout of everything he did in that first movie that he's dealing with in that. But I don't know. It was especially like the second one was really frantically paced. It was really like fast. Like I just felt like there was no time to breathe a little bit. Like characters.
Yeah, they're constantly bringing you to new locations and bringing in new characters, and
it was a little too much. Like I just want like characters to sit down and talk a little bit so I can figure out what the motivation is.
That was the one with the crazy editing too. The second one, like you see him fighting a couple different people, but the fights are all like intercut.
Yeah.
So you don't really know what order things are happening.
Yeah.
And it just loses itself.
Now 3, I do feel they handled things a little better. Characters did sit and talk a little more. He had that conversation with Halle Berry. Okay, let's go see this guy, and he had a little better like motivation. Because they were kicking him out, and he was going to get killed, so he was trying to get his life back and all that stuff. So I do feel 3 was a little bit better, but yeah, the first one's still the best one.
Yeah, I mean, despite my objections to some of the things in the second one and third one being a little bit weaker, it's still a fun series. And if there's some fun action in there, the third one had at least 4 or 5 different action scenes that were really well done. The dogs in particular, I found that hilarious when dogs would just jump into scene and start ripping somebody apart.
Yeah, it felt 3 felt a little more practical too, like just how everything was going down.
2 had 2 good scenes. The car at the beginning, which was extremely loud, was kind of fun, and then the other scene I liked was the when he and the other guy are walking through the subway and they're just like sneaking the gun under their jacket, just like trying to pop shots at each other.
Yeah.
But aside from that couple of seconds, it just goes back to being overly silly and complicated.
Well, and he went in to save his car at the beginning of the second movie, but he tears it apart as he destroys it. So what's the point? Then he drops it off to John Leguizamo and says, "Hey,
who was not in part 3." I was a little
not
sad.
In 3. I imagine he will be there in 4. I imagine that's going to be the end. He's going to,
when the car comes back.
Yeah, the car. He's going to solve everything. The car's going to be in pristine condition, and that'll be it for the series. I'm guessing, anyways.
It may have to be. How many of these John Wick movies can they make? And
I don't know,
because they're coming out like 2-3 years apart,
something like that. Yeah, 2017 was 2, and 2019 was 3. So 2021 will probably be 4. But I am looking forward to 4. 4 left on or 3 left on sort of a cliffhanger, and looking forward to it.
Everybody loves Keanu Reeves again.
Yeah, I was never much of a fan of his, and they do in this series, like really, I think they utilize him well. Like they only give him like a few lines of dialogue and that.
Yeah.
And when he does say something, you can tell like it's not the best acting you're witnessing.
Yeah, but I think I'm back.
it's not the greatest, but yeah. I wanted to mention another movie, In the Name of the Father. This came out in the early 90s. Got Daniel Day-Lewis. It's about the IRA again. I've been watching a lot of movies about the IRA. And these guys, it's based on a true story where the British Scotland Yard basically is investigating these IRA bombings, and they wrongly convict these people. And, they torture the confessions out of them. And it was really good. They even go after this guy's family. They throw basically the whole family into jail. It was all shoddy evidence and all that stuff. And then there's Emma Thompson, I think was the girl in the movie. I can't remember. She plays a lawyer that's trying to get them out of prison. It was fantastic. 2 hours and 12 minutes, and it flew right by. That was one that I picked up on a whim for $5, the Blu-ray. So sometimes you find a diamond in that rough. And I really enjoyed it, man. I really, really enjoyed it. Highly recommended from me. Tried watching a movie called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. Couldn't get into that one.
Henry Cavill. I keep seeing that pop up.
That's right.
The remake of an old TV show.
Harry Clavicle. Yeah, I didn't like. Sarah and I watched the first half hour of it. We were pretty much, and just poorly written. Like, they're supposed to be spies that are undercover, and they're doing like driving around in the middle of Paris with their motorcycles, having, dumb conversations where they're trying to one up each other with the quips and all that. And it's like, aren't you guys supposed to be undercover? Not supposed to be flashy and stuff. And but the bad guys are over there. They're over there. Don't worry about it. They're waiting for us to get over there. Don't worry about it. We can just do whatever we want. This is stupid. So Sarah convinced me to watch The Queen after we dropped that for half an hour. That was good. Helen Mirren. It's about Princess Diana passing away and just what the royal family went through after she had passed. Because there was a lot of, I don't know if you remember, but there was a lot of animosity against the royal family because they weren't really grieving in public. They're trying to be very stoic about the whole occasion, and people just didn't they just thought that, like, as if they were making it like as if Lady Diana didn't really mean that much to them. And Tony Blair was like the brand new prime minister at the time, and he kind of convinces them to like loosen up a little bit. It was really well done movie. I wasn't expecting much from it. Also watched, finally got to that HBO documentary about Andre the Giant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hated wrestling. Why would you watch that?
Hey, I'm not a big fan of a lot. Like, I'll even watch a documentary on a band that I don't care about, because a lot of times these real stories are just so interesting. And Andre the Giant was a real person that existed, and he's got a fascinating story. I will say the parts that were boring was when they talked about wrestling, because all this, like, they're going on about like stuff he did in the ring and how crazy it was, and him and Hulk Hogan did these things and they were so crazy. It's like, meanwhile, Hulk Hogan admitted that he had everything written down on legal pads. He's like, yeah, I wrote all this stuff down. Okay, you do this, you do that, you do this. So then when they went into the ring, Andre the Giant did exactly what was written on the legal pad. I'm like, oh, how is that amazing? Who cares? Anyway,
no, it's all a spectacle. I don't think anyone believes that this stuff is real anymore.
I know, but it was just a silly part where they were just going on about
it's a stunt show. That's what wrestling is.
Okay, but how is it amazing that the guy writes down something on a legal pad and then he does it in the ring? Like, what's so amazing about that? I don't know. I don't get it. I get it that they're physical, like what they're doing in the ring is very physical. It's basically acrobats in there, like they're rolling and stuff and all that, tumbling and all that. But I mean, like they make it like as if it's some sort of, they present it as if it was some sort of sporting event where nobody knew what was going to happen, when Hulk Hogan had everything written out on a legal pad.
That's what it is. Yeah, of course they work on it together, decide what they're going to do. Some people script everything. Some people are very loose and just let it, happen naturally. But they have kind of set like, okay, this is gonna be a big moment, and then we're gonna end it like this kind of thing. And then it's just a story. It's just like watching a TV show. It's like, wow, that was crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't know Saul Goodman was gonna do that. Well, they had a script.
I don't think like. I don't know how.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not trying to defend wrestling. I'm just saying what it is.
No, I know that. I'm not saying that it was. I don't know. It came. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know. Anyway,
I didn't see it, but Andre the Giant's like real life story. Is that what this whole thing was?
Yes, and it was excellent. Okay. The stuff about the Princess Bride was fantastic. I didn't know Andre. Now that it's one of those things that you look at it, it's like, how did I not know this? Andre the Giant is from France. I didn't know he was from France. I didn't know he was French. I always just thought that weird accent he had was just because he was big and he couldn't. That's just how he talked. But now that you listen to him when he talks, he's talking with a very thick French accent. A guy named Andre from France. Who knew? And he had he had a disease, right, that caused him to grow really big, and he never stopped growing. He kept
really?
Yeah, he kept growing throughout. Like it slowed down. You know, he went through puberty and it slowed down, but he was still growing, and that's really what killed him. And then the last few years of his life, he was still trying to stay into wrestling, but he was having all sorts of problems, you know, with his back and his knees. He was having operations and all that, because while these other parts of his body were still growing, his organs were not. They were enlarged, but they were not growing along with him. So they couldn't keep up, right, to keep him healthy. There was a medication that he could have had taken to help him that would have given him a longer life, but he didn't want to do that because it might have hindered his wrestling career. And the doctors told him, they said, you're not going to make it to 40 years old. And I think he died at 38 or something like that. So yeah, it was really sad at the end. Like you can tell he was just hooked on the celebrity and the fame and all that stuff. And it was really
enjoying
hard
his life.
Yeah. It was really hard for him to give up, but really fascinating story. Yeah, a lot of stuff in the Princess Bride that they had him do, he actually couldn't do. Like for instance, there's the one part where they drop Robin Wright Penn into his arms, and he couldn't catch her because his back was so messed up. So they actually had her come down on wires and stop on wires, so it just looked like he caught her. And when he was fighting with Carrie Elways in the movie, there was stuff that he couldn't do. He was supposed to like throw Carrie Elways and that, but he couldn't pick him up or anything. You know, he just wasn't well enough to do it. But
that was one of those eye openers when I watched Princess Bride, because when you see wrestlers, you usually see them with other wrestlers, and they're all these really big people. But when you see him standing next to normal-sized humans, it's like, my God, he was so
massive.
Big.
Well, and Rob Reiner, the director of Princess Bride, was saying that they were prepared for the biggest issue with him to be all of the lines of dialogue that he had to do and to enunciate and be clear. But really, the biggest problems they had was the wrestling stuff that they wanted him to do in the movie, because he just physically couldn't do it. They couldn't even they couldn't put him on a horse. They had to he was on, anytime you saw him on a horse in the movie, they actually had him braced up with wires up above. And if you watch that movie, they were supposed to do a lot of stuff on location, but a lot of the outdoor stuff is actually done in studio because Andre the Giant, they needed to like brace him up. So they had to he had to be supported from the ceiling and all that. I always wondered that with that movie, because there's some scenes in it that look really cheesy where it's done in studio. It's like, why didn't they go out on location? Because they're out on location when it's just Carrie Elways and Robin Wright. You know, they're doing all sorts of things, but anytime it's the villains in that movie, they always seem to be in a studio. But that's why they had to brace him up, which is pretty.
They really wanted him in that movie. That's a lot of extra work to go through.
Well, the guy who wrote the book was a huge fan of Andre the Giant, and he wrote that part for Andre the Giant. And then when he wrote the screenplay, he's like, I want Andre the Giant to play this character. Fun fact. So there you go. The only complaint I have about that documentary, it was a really good documentary, but it had this really loud music in it, almost drowning out what people were saying. So unnecessary. When the guy's story was fascinating enough, you don't need to it was like Jaws was like eating people up. They had like this bass fiddle playing while people are talking and that. And it's like, this is the kind of music you hear in Jaws when Jaws is eating everybody up. Like, we don't need this right now. We just tell me the story, settle down. I wish there was an option to turn off the music.
Yeah. But I hate when the story is distracted by all the attention getter stuff. That's why I can't watch those Toys That Made Us shows. It's just tell the story. All this obnoxious editing.
Fortunate, but true. That's why when you watch my collection videos over on Buried on Mars on the YouTube channel, no music in the background, just me talking.
Oh, no, I want those classic YouTube videos where it'd be like text comes up, says, "Oh, unboxing," and then blaring techno music starts playing.
Nope. Not on my channel. It's old school over there. Okay, we better get moving here on. That's enough.
Yeah,
for
you got some more stuff you want to talk
about. Just want to say rest easy, Fred Willard. Rest in peace. He passed away today. If you listen to our Waiting for Guffman, Christopher Guest show there, we talked all about Fred Willard in there. Sad day. He's such a funny guy. I'm going to miss him.
I don't know how you do this. Like every time a celebrity passes away, you always make some sort of comment on Twitter or mention it somehow. Like I see these things too. You're the first one to point this one out to me. I didn't notice that, but I never feel the need to like do the hashtag RIP or anything on social media.
Well, I've look when
I know you're picking the people that mean something to
that
you,
means
that
something
had an influence.
For one thing, but I know for a fact that when my dad passed away, I really appreciated when people reached out and said, even just said, condolences or whatever. I really appreciated it. And I know that there are people who knew Fred Willard, who were in the family and that will put that rest in peace Fred Willard thing in their Twitter, and they'll just look at what people are saying. I know that they do that. So, I'm not looking for attention or anything like that. I feel like as if Fred Willard meant something to me, he just meant that little bit. He made me laugh. I love his appearances in all those Christopher Guest movies, and that's all. Just wanted to share. And then maybe there's somebody out there that's never seen the movie before, right? And they see that clip, and who the heck is Fred Willard? And they check that out, and they think it's funny, and then they go check out the movie.
Well, fair enough.
Those are my intentions. Anyways.
All positive intentions.
That's it. I'm not looking for attention, like Joe says. Everybody posts things just for attention or anything like that.
Was it, what was the cause of death? Was it Corona or?
He was 86 years old.
So he was just 86 years old.
Yeah, they said he was in good spirits right up to when he passed away. So, yeah.
Okay.
They're coming out with yet another Star Trek.
So it seems.
So this one is going to be everything that you've ever wanted, Richard, as a classic Star Trek fan. They're going back to their roots. It's all going to be about positivity and exploring space and all the same shit they said for the last two Star Trek series.
They're still backpedaling on that so hard.
It's so dumb.
Like they have to include that in all of their promo material.
Yeah.
It's like they have to say, we're going to be positive, really.
Look, here's what it comes down to at the end of it. The guy tweeting this out is Alex Kurtzman, who's the same guy who's responsible for the last two Star Trek series. So unless he's going to hand off the reins to somebody else and say, you do Star Trek, Star Trek better than I do, you do the whole thing, you're in charge of it, it's going to be the same crap over and over again.
No, they said positivity, and didn't you hear the original Star Trek theme playing while they were talking?
No, I didn't. And here's the other dumb thing too. Why does it have to be the Enterprise? Why is it Christopher Pike? Why are we doing Spock?
It was arguably, Pike was, and many people have said this, the best part of Discovery so far. They took the character of Pike, who was a fairly underdeveloped character, and they brought him back and they had a good actor behind him, and he became a very likable character on that show. So they figure, all right, let's go back again, do another prequel show. We'll take, not only will we take someone we're going to take 3 people we're going to take Pike and Spock and Number One, and we're going to give you the Enterprise, and we're going to do original Star Trek now.
But why a prequel again?
Spock are going to be like having a fist fight by episode 3.
Like how many things is just not going to make any sense that Spock is going to do? That's just not going to make any sense. Like why do they got to go back in time all the time? Like why do they got to go back to just do something new? Something new. If you want to do Star Trek, start it off after Next Generation.
Nobody knows what that is if it's new. You can say Enterprise.
Really,
you can say
that's
Transporter.
But you could say Enterprise with a new show. Like how many people out there know who Christopher Pike is? Unless you're a Star Trek fan. The guy was in one episode. He was in the pilot. Well, and he was also in a wheelchair with the butt beep, beep, beep. I guess he was in the newer movies, played by a different character. So I guess Christopher Pike's been around a little bit, but
again,
not many people
that's
know
it.
who he is.
To their diehard fans, that's one thing. You know they're going to show up, even if they're angry. They're still going to show up because they want to see.
And hate watch every week.
Hate watch, yeah. Then you got the people that are familiar with the JJ movies, and they said Enterprise in that, and they said Pike in that. So there's a little connection there. And then, you know, people who saw Discovery, like, okay, I know this actor and this character. So I can't believe that they're just pumping out these Star Trek shows like every year. It seems like now there's just another new Star Trek. They're hoping that one of them is going to catch. I'm like, this is going to be the one, and then we can let the others fall by the wayside and say, hey, look, yeah, we brought back Star Trek to TV. People like it.
Well, they got the streaming services, right? That's really what they're trying to push. It's like UPN,
that's
Paramount
CBS,
Network, back in the day where they were just cranking out Star Trek because they needed some sort of Star Trek on their network. And this is the same thing. Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's good or not. Just put something that says Star Trek out there. Hope for the best.
How does the rest of the rhyme go? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me thrice. Is there an ending to that?
I don't know.
I ain't gonna watch it.
No. I retweeted it with Lucy holding the football. So that's how I feel about. I don't know. Maybe I'll give the pilot a chance. Maybe I
am curious though, because I didn't watch the end of Discovery. I assumed Pike was still on the ship, so I guess he got off.
As far as I know, what happened, and spoiler alert for Star Trek Discovery, I think what happened is Pike was gone. He went back on the Enterprise and they did whatever, and the Discovery is shot into the future, and they're flying around in the future. That's what I heard.
They send it into the future, but I thought he was on the ship with because I didn't watch it. And Rebecca Romaine is on that show. Was she in the Discovery as number one?
I don't know. Don't know. Yeah. Okay.
She's not Rebecca Romaine Stamos anymore, huh?
No, she left the Stamos a long time ago. She's with Jerry O'Connell. I think they have a couple of kids together.
Really? Sliders? Yeah. Jerry O'Connell?
Yeah. They've been together for like 15 years, something like that now.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, finally I wanted to mention I tried to watch Star Wars Episode 9 because a buddy of mine got me my Disney Plus back again.
That's the new one.
That's the latest one.
Movie
right?
Okay.
So I watched 8 minutes of it at the beginning.
I thought you watched a few minutes of it already.
I did.
You fast forwarded through the crawl, and then you.
I'm going back in time.
You watched like a minute and said, "This is garbage. Everything is garbage. I hate this."
I felt bad. Okay. So I went back again after the 8 minutes. I went back again, and I got to the 15. I'm watching it. Right? And I'm like, okay, I am not digging this. It's just characters yelling at each other. Everyone's angry at each other. They're way too excited. Like they're acting like as if they are in a Star Trek movie, or sorry, a Star Wars movie. Like they're not acting like as if they're people that exist in this universe. They're acting like as if they're in a movie. You know what I mean? Like they're just yelling at each other. Like they're excited to be on the Millennium Falcon playing checkers with, or whatever that game is, with Chewbacca, right? And they're kind of like they're taking the piss on Chewbacca. They're like having fun with him, you know. And it's I don't like in the original Star Wars, you had the characters in there. They had no idea what this game, you know, let the Wookiee win and all that. They're kind of scared. They don't know what's going on and all that. But in this movie, they're just the characters are just well too self-aware of what's going on. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, everyone's just yelling, screaming at each other and all that. I'm like, okay, I had enough. I felt like as if I watched at least 30 to 40 minutes. I watched 30 to 40 minutes of this movie. So I checked the time and I was at the 15-minute mark. 1:05. I'm like, okay, I'm not digging this movie. So I stopped it. And in Disney Plus recommended The Love Bug, the very first Herbie movie. And I hit play on that, and there was just a big smile on my face for the next 90 minutes. It's not a good movie, But I remember watching it a lot when I was a kid, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is it. This is.
It's been a very long time since I've seen anything Herbie.
They're not good. They are not good movies. They're not good, but they're fun.
You watch a Volkswagen Beetle just like bump into people, and
there's still some crazy practical effects that I'm watching. And like Disney, I don't know how the heck you did that. Like there's one part where Herbie skips on the water, like as if he's a rock.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm waiting for I'm like, okay, this isn't going to look as good as when I'm a kid, right? I'm going to see like the weird green screen and the, just like a weird shimmering effect all around thing. Nope. It looked like a car skipping on that water. I don't know how they did it. Looks good.
Not a miniature, or
it might be a miniature superimposed on the back, but it's really hard to rewind and play when you're streaming, to go back and forth. But I did try once, and I looked at it twice, and it looked good. It looked good.
That's that Disney magic. Before they had CG, they actually took a lot of time to get that stuff right.
Yeah.
You ever see those documentaries? They talk about their animated movies, and they had like the moving backgrounds, all the different panels, so the trees and stuff are crossing in the distance.
Yeah.
Crazy technology that they created.
Yep. Good stuff. What happened to them? Okay, that's it. I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
And there's something else on your...
Nope, that's it.
No, Star Trek Club. Oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Yay.
Wrap it up.
All right. Well, follow Retro Fandango on the Twitter at retro_Fandango. Get a boner with Retro Fandango! ! Discord.
Hey.
Those are the words we say at the end of the show.
That's right. Check us out on YouTube if you're listening to this on Podbean. Check us out on Podbean if you're watching this on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Like and
totally different experience each time.
Yes. You get to see Richard's face on YouTube. You get to see his headphones dangling behind him, like decoration.
Well, those are the backup. I might use these in the summer because these cans,
kind of hot.
Get really hot and sweaty.
They do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, I got a treat for our YouTube viewers. You want to see that?
Here we go. Is this the bonus material?
Yeah, bonus material. Look at that. I took that game I've been playing, the tabletop game.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Look at that. I loaded up 2 whole binders full of rules. Look at that.
Wow. Those look like legit books under there, under covers.
Well, yeah, it's really nice. I got the PDF, so I just printed out myself.
Wow.
I only did the cover in color. Everything else is in black and white. But look at all this. Oh.
Those are what we call here in Canada duotangs.
Look at that. These are expansions. Look at that. Ooh. See that? There's even more too.
Amazing.
I'm having fun though. I made little terrain pieces. I started making walls for my miniatures to hide behind.
So did you start reading that stuff and you're actually getting the rules down and all that?
I am. I mean, my kids, they're still interested in playing, so
that's good.
We're having fun, little by little. I'm always forgetting something, but then the next game is like, oh, I forgot to do that. So add another rule every time.
Nice.
It's fun.
All right. Okay. Well,
I'm gonna eat my raisins now.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'm going to watch a movie. I'm gonna watch Princess Bride. I'm gonna try to get Sarah to watch that.
I gotta watch some Conan movies.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Next week.
That's right. Doing the thing.
Okay. Conan, Red Sonja.
Right. All right. Welcome back, STC Pod. We're back.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're back. Just kidding. All right.
How dare you?
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Fandango.